Hello students, welcome to Shubhra Ranjan IAS. My name is Shubhanshu Jaiswal and let's start our daily current affairs practice. Now, in question 1 today we have, with reference to International Atomic Energy Agency, consider the following statements. Now, what are the statements? Statement 1 is saying it is a non-governmental organization that seeks to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy. So here they are giving you two information in one statement. Number 1, non-governmental organization. Is this correct? Well, no, this is problematic because International Atomic Energy Agency is actually intergovernmental organization. Here the government of various countries are participating, fine. Now that seeks to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy. They are giving you the aim or the objective of the body. Now this information is correct. However, because of this part, the statement is incorrect. Now second statement, it reports to both the United Nations General Assembly and Security Council. Now see, this particular body, International Atomic Energy Agency, this is actually like the watchdog of United Nations. It is looking after whether the countries are not misusing the nuclear power for the nuclear weapons, etc. Because it can of course affect the peace and the security of world. Hence, this particular body is sending its report. It is reporting to both United Nations General Assembly and Security Council. So this particular statement is correct. Third, India is not a member of it. No, this is incorrect because ever since its inception, India has been the member of this International Atomic Energy Agency. Fine. So here only they are asking you the correct statement. So here only one would be the right answer. Fine. Now let us see what more is kept there. Now why it is in the news, that is also something we need to see. Now what has happened recently in the Ukraine state? In Ukraine, you have this particular Zaporizhia, fine, I may be pronouncing it wrong, but don't worry. The point is, this particular nuclear power plant is actually Europe's one of the largest nuclear power plant. And given the condition, given the conflict of Russia and Ukraine, you might have been seeing in the news as well. Sometimes they are destroying their bridge, sometimes they are destroying each other's dams. So there is a threat on this nuclear power plant as well, and a threat to nuclear power plant. Now you can imagine if anything happens here, it is not just going to be in the country of Ukraine, it is going to affect other nations as well. So this has basically raised the eyebrows of International Atomic Energy Agency. Fine. So this has been the news, the threat basically to this nuclear power plant because of the Ukraine and Russia's war. Fine. Rest we have already discussed. Its headquarter of International Atomic Energy Agency is located in Vienna, Austria. Fine. Now, next question is, consider the following questions with reference to the biofuels. Fine. So there they have given you the biofuels and the sources. So let us look at them one by one. Number 1, first generation biofuels produced from non-food crops. Now this is incorrect because the first generation biofuels are the biofuels which are produced from the food crops. Fine. Then second generations biofuels are what? अब देखिए हुआ क्या था? Actually we started producing biofuel from food crops. However, you know, if we use the food crops to produce the biofuel, however, what are we going to eat? It is definitely going to affect our food security. That is why we came up with second generation biofuels which are being produced from non-food crops. Fine. So here these two are incorrect. Third generation biofuels from microorganisms like algae. So this is the correct matching. So here only one pair is the right. So they are asking you how many of the above statement are correct. So the correct answer would be only one. Now see, biofuels is very important. Fine. And time and again UPSC has been asking from areas like this. Now what we discussed, if you want to see in detail, you can have a look. Like first generation biofuels, they are being produced from the edible food sources. For example, your sugar cane, maize, soybean, fine. The advantages are they are simple process, cost efficient. However, the disadvantage is food versus fuel conflict. Fine. If you will use all the food for your biofuel, then what will we eat? Fine. So in order to counter the threat to food security, we came up with second generation biofuels. Fine. Here we are using the waste. Fine. Already used plants and non-edible food sources. However, here also we had certain disadvantages. Fine. For example, limited amounts of biomass, etc. Then we researched more and we found third generation and fourth generation biofuels. Third generation biofuels are basically one of the very good revolution, in fact, in this research. Why? Because not just they are producing the energy, they are also capturing the carbon dioxide. Fine. And the last but not the least, which is not mentioned in the question, yet very important for you to know, fourth generation biofuels. Now what it is doing, it is using the genetically modified, the genetically engineered species. Fine. So this is all you need to know. Fine. Now why I am discussing this, because recently what happened, this is all we have discussed. Fine. So just if you want, you can just have a reading. Fine. Now, so why I am asking, because we are discussing, because in G20, on the sidelines of G20, this very big initiative has been taken by India. Global Biofuels Alliance has been launched. Now what is the aim? The aim is very simple, as you can predict, that we are going to promote the advancement, the research, the technology and adoption of the biofuels, because biofuels are your non-renewable energy resources, whereas the current consumption of fossil fuels is not the sustainable one. Fine. So sooner or later we have to look for non-renewable energy resources, and biofuels is one of the very good options in this regard. Here the core members, the participating ones, are India, Brazil and US. Fine. Now let's see what is next. Now consider the following statements with reference to Morocco. Number one, it is a landlocked country in Maghreb region of North Africa. Now landlocked countries, you understand, which is covered, which is not having any access to sea, etc. Fine. However, in case of Morocco, you know that it is not landlocked because it is having access to Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea as well. Now, so this particular statement that Morocco is a landlocked country is incorrect. Second, Atlas Mountains are a significant geographical feature in Morocco. Now this is correct. So there are these mountains, Atlas Mountains, and they are predominantly found in your Morocco country. Then it is bordered by Spain to the north, a water border through the strait, Algeria to the east and Western Sahara to the south. Now this is also correct. So here only first statement is incorrect. You can also use the elimination technique here, although UPSC has not left much of scope for elimination technique, but see, just knowing that it is not a landlocked country, you could have easily eliminated these three and this would be the right answer. However, as per the knowledge also, we have solved the question. Now, why before that, let us have a look. This is where you have Morocco. Now, two important, one thing special about Morocco is that on one hand, it is having access to your Mediterranean Sea, and on the other hand, it is having access to Atlantic Ocean. And imagine this particular country was having the blame, having the acquisition of landlocked country. How unfair. Anyways, so it is having access to these two. Now, also you can see it is having a very thin border, a very narrow opening, in fact, in between these two big water bodies, and such a geographical feature is known as what? Strait. So when two big water bodies are connected by a small water body, then such a place is known as strait. So which state is here in between Spain and Morocco? Very important, it is Strait of Gibraltar. Fine. Now also you can see the Atlas Mountains that was given in the statement. It is also here in the Morocco. It is extending here as well. However, mainly it is here in the Morocco city. Other important countries here near Mediterranean Sea: Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt and Tunisia. You can just remember this via mnemonic mallet. Fine. Now let's go ahead. Now, so why it is here? Because you might have heard the news, very unfortunate and sad news, that recently there was a very strong earthquake, very destructive earthquake in Morocco. Lots of people have lost their life and there has been a huge destruction of infrastructure as well. Fine. So rest, all these are the things which we have already discussed. Fine. Access to Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea, bordered with Spain, Algeria and Western Sahara. Fine. Atlas Mountains are there, which are extending from Tunisia to Atlantic coast, Tunisia to your northwestern Africa. Fine. Now let's see what's next. Consider the following statements with respect to the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. Number one, it is a statutory body. Yes, that is correct. It functions under the Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizers. This is incorrect. It is responsible for the approval of pharmaceuticals, medical devices, cosmetics, among other related products under the Drugs and Cosmetic Acts 1940. Now this is also correct. So here option 1, statement 1 and 3 is correct. So this would be the right option. Let us see the explanation for the same and why it is here. Because it was in news, and what was the news? That recently they have asked the state regulators, the doctors and everyone to be careful about two drugs. Now these two drugs are this Defitelio, which is used for to diagnose any kind of problem in liver, and the cancer drug Adcetris. This is an injection. Now why they are putting this warning to be cautious? Because they have been warned by WHO. So WHO has raised an alert considering the quality and the disadvantage of this, in fact the fake drugs as well. So as of now CDSCO has just raised the warning, has just raised the caution. There is no complete banning, just caution that people should use this drug from the and purchase these drugs from the authorized shops only. So special focus is on the quality of the drugs. Now statutory body, as we discussed, that it is statutory body, that is it was established under certain act. The act is Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. It is operating under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Fine. So these are two important things you need to know. Now what is the work? The work is overall to regulate the drug supply in India, to authorize, responsible for the approval of pharmaceuticals, medical devices, not just medicines but medical devices as well. For example, your hearing aid, fine, such things, cosmetics, among other related products. Fine. So this was a quick view about this. No need to remember very much in detail, but just have the fair idea. Fine. So that was all for today. I hope you learned a lot. If in case you have any doubt, you can just write it down on our comment section. Have a good day. Happy learning.